Ace, and how long? The drinks trolley has appeared.
It is.
What do you have for us today, Suze?
A very nice, I thought it was kind of apt, Skin Contact orange wine, 12%. It's called Orange Groove.
Yes.
And the label has got a vinyl record kind of inspired kind of label.
I like that.
And delicious, yeah, really tasty.
Very good. A half pint for Holly. She'll appreciate that as we work our way through the programme. Today's confession, I think, has probably a 15 certificate.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I know. I feel as though Holly's going to disapprove instantly. Comes from Hugh. Dear High Priest and Priestesses of Moral Magnificence.
Oh, I like that.
Susie, Holly, Simon and Matt. I am writing this confession, which requires complete absolution, on behalf of my sister and my mother. The incident occurred over 50 years ago and stands as yet another example of good intentions backfiring. Sometime in the mid-1970s, my sister and mother were driving along the B Road between Chipping Norton and Enston in Oxfordshire. As they drove, they passed a car that was poorly parked on a soft verge by the side of the road. At the time, unlike today, the area was not yet overrun by vacuous celebrities, media execs, retired footballers, Top Gear presenters or prime ministers. It was still a remarkably quiet place to live. I think Hugh sounds a bit bitter at that point.
Yeah, a little bit.
Having passed the stationary vehicle, both my mother and my sister grew concerned. The occupant appeared a little under the weather. Slouched, I'd say, with a pale complexion, no facial movement, and a frozen gurn-like expression.
Oh.
They exchanged glances and confirmed their mutual worry that this man could well be seriously ill or in peril, and maybe he was actually dead. Well, you don't know, do you?
Wow.
This anxiety was heightened by the fact that my grandfather had recently passed away, so it was on our minds. And this gentleman looked like he might also have let slip the surly bonds of earth. Rather than driving on, my mother put the car in reverse, backed up level with the stationary vehicle, and beeped the horn to check if the occupant needed medical attention. Are you okay? Yelled my mother. Do you need any help? Well, she needn't have bothered. As soon as the honk of the horn faded, the man opened his eyes with a startled look, staring directly at my mother and then my sister, then back at my mother again, clearly indicating that he was fine. However, their relief turned to shock when a second face, female this time, suddenly emerged from below the car window.
Oh, my word. No.
Looking even more startled, she featured hairstyle by Mad Meg and bright red lipstick smudged across her face.
Oh, no.
At that precise moment, it became glaringly apparent that this was not a medical emergency requiring clinical expertise, but rather an in-progress game of Cluedo. He was okay. He didn't need help. Or if he did, he had a friend who could help him out. Without missing a beat, my mother gave a thumbs up and a cheesy grin of encouragement to the two amorous occupants. Jolly good, she said, and then sped off as fast as her Hillman imp could carry them. That was an old kind of car.
Okay,
Holly.
nice.
I therefore seek forgiveness on behalf of my mother and sister, not from the two enjoying each other's company, but for her improper use of the car horn, which was a potential breach of the highway code, and in Chipping Norton, where we don't like that sort of thing. Well, I mean, I think you might have realised in which direction that was heading. There are quite a few of those. Hugh wants some forgiveness for sister and his mother. What do you say, Suze?
Well, I feel like the mother and the sister, entirely honourable intentions there. You know, they were worried about this man. They weren't sure what was going on. And I feel like, you know, he probably had quite a relaxed approach to the highway code as it was. And, you know, it surely didn't need assistance. There was someone already providing all of that. So I'm going to forgive because I don't think they did anything wrong.
Okay. Sister Holly.
Well, yes. I mean, I think just let people be, you know, and hooting the horn loudly in that scenario, I just don't think was quite right.
He might have been dead.
I know, but he wasn't.
No.
And so
Very much alive.
He was very
the
much
whole
not dead.
situation was just really no. I think the behaviour all round was sick and wrong,
Yes,
frankly.
yes.
And so I don't think I can forgive them on this occasion.
Okay. And Brother Matt, who's not here, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to forgive because, we've all learned a lesson. I won't try doing that again. And frankly, I'd have done the same. And I think anyone who says differently is wrong. So, yes, for all those reasons, I'm going to forgive.
Who's got himself into there? People's verdict, please, for Hugh. 61054. Just before the 6 o'clock news, we had a confession from Hugh, set in the 1970s on a B road between Chipping Norton and Ensdon. Involved a stationary vehicle, the occupant of the car, and a hidden occupant of the car, and an episode of Cluedo. The people's verdict is in. Here we go.
Everyone forgives tonight. Caroline in Brentworth said, I totally forgive Hugh's mother and sister. They were only trying to render assistance.
Right.
Their hearts were in the right place. Right. Debbie in Lichfield said, forgiven for the use of the car horn, mainly because I think the occupants of the vehicle would much rather be beeped at than have two women stare close up through the car window.
Fair enough.
And Kirsty on the same line says, forgiven, gave me a laugh and reminded me of a friend who, on finding a steamed up car window, went over to wipe the window, believing there was a dog in it. As giggly teenagers, we found it hilarious. Different times.
Very, very much so. Okay, your confession, please, to Confessions at Greatest Hits Radio. 5:45, Greatest Hits Radio. But as we head towards confession time, there goes the drinks trolley. Let's get some suggestion. Live from the pub, here's Suze. What are we going with today?
A pale ale today called Sky Above, 4.5%.
Yes.
Sintra, Simcoe, Mosaic hops.
How am I supposed to react to that? I don't know.
It's tasty, and it's gluten-free as well. So
very good. 4.5. Thank you. We'll have a half later. Today's confession comes from Rob. I don't think we need a certificate to this one at all.
For you.
But let's just see where we go. Rob says, Father Simon and the Confessional Collective, this confession to seek forgiveness is so long overdue. I sincerely hope the true victim in this tale is still alive and is listening in and is able to forgive. I have to take you back to 1991. The world knew of Hannibal Lecter through, I suppose 18 certificate then, through a recently released movie, Silence of the Lambs. The nation was in fear. And so a great time to make people jump, which is what this is all about. Myself and my colleague Brian were working into the evening doing our factory job. I was tasked with locking up and said to Brian to leave a few minutes ahead of me as his commute home was longer than mine and in a different direction. Well, now, Brian was a distinctive fellow, Father Simon, long hair, a surfer type, and he drove a grey VW Beetle. On my drive back to Eastbourne, about 20 minutes from the factory, I pass a parade of shops on the main road. One of the shops is a fish and chip takeaway, and outside there was parked Brian's VW. I don't know why, but I decided to pull over and walk back to Brian's car. I could see him, his back turned to me with his distinctive shaggy hair waiting for his supper to be cooked. To my absolute delight, he had left his door unlocked. Pulling the driver's seat forward, I climbed into the back seat, covering myself up with an old blanket and a sports bag, and duly waited for his return. I mean,
it's going to go wrong.
It is. It was dusk, but I could still peer through the window and see him. He turned towards the car, chips in hand, and I ducked down and prepared to give him the shock of a lifetime. As I mentioned earlier, we were always pranking each other, doing that kind of thing. He climbed in, he put his food on the passenger seat, rolled a cigarette, because it's 1991, and he started the engine. My aim was to let him drive a small distance and then announce my presence. So I picked... I mean, what could possibly go wrong here? I picked my moment, rose from the back seat and caught Brian's face in the driver's mirror. To my absolute horror, it wasn't Brian.
Oh no! Of course it wasn't.
This guy had the hair. He had a car like Brian, but he was also sporting a rather bushy beard. This was not Brian. Terrified, I slunk back down and a million thoughts raced through my mind. Where are we heading? In a second, I decided to see the journey through. Remember, Brian lived in a different town to me. We were currently heading towards Hastings. Who wants to go to Hastings? No offence. I reasoned with myself that I could end up absolutely anywhere, so I decided I had to introduce myself to the unknown driver pretty quickly and then take the beating that was going to come my way. So I rose again slowly from the back seat, not unlike a vampire rising from a coffin. And this time, Brian saw me. I can still hear his scream to this day. The terrified driver swerved to the opposite side of the road, narrowly missing an oncoming bus and mounting the curb. There you go, and not forgiven, I think. He leapt out of the car at lightning pace. He stood hands on the bonnet, visibly shaking and looking directly at me. Pushing his seat forward, I slowly climbed out to meet my fate. I don't know why, but as I stood next to him, I said, in a voice like the great Terry Thomas, "I'm awfully sorry, old chap. I thought you were someone else." Why I used that voice, I don't know, says Rob. That's the voice that I used. The driver merely raised one hand in acknowledgement as if to say, well, that's all right. Probably grateful I wasn't feasting on his liver with a bottle of Chianti. That's a reference to Silence of the Lambs.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
I carried on my long walk back to the car as if, that's a very long walk, as if nothing had happened, not daring to look back. I imagine he's long since changed his hairstyle and his car. But if he's listening, I'm truly sorry. But boy, have you helped people laugh at this story over the years. Over to you, Simon and team. This is from Rob. I mean, to be honest, as we've established many times, pranksters in general aren't very funny. But to climb into someone's car to surprise them from the back seat, even if that was Brian, sounds to me a pretty dangerous thing to do. But let's check in with Sister Susie first of all.
Yeah, Rob, you were just asking for trouble, weren't you, really? Like, oh, I can't believe that poor man that wasn't Brian. Like, you just scared the living daylights out of him. And, he nearly swerved into a bus.
Yes.
I'd like to think that, I could channel Brother Matt here, but I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't forgive you. It's just unforgivable. That's just shocking. You could have caused an accident. Danger.
Yes.
Maybe check the registration number first next time.
If he had crashed into the car, we obviously wouldn't be doing the confession.
Of course.
That's the simple thing. Sister Holly, what do you say?
Well, firstly, what's wrong with Hastings? He said, and I was halfway off to Hastings.
Yes.
What's wrong with
Nothing.
Hastings? Secondly, why did he wait for his friend, which actually ended up not being his friend, to start the engine and be halfway up the road to then scare him?
Yes.
Wouldn't it have been much, much safer? I'm not saying you should have done it at all. The whole idea sounds absolutely ridiculous. But if he'd just been in the back, then turned up, then gone boo, whatever, that's all right. You're not going to crash the car. Doing it whilst the person's driving, instantly going to be a disaster.
Yes.
You're going to crash. It's going to be awful. Really, really bad. So dangerous. And absolutely ridiculous behaviour. He wanted to just live his life and eat his fish and chips, and he ruined his evening. And for all of those reasons,
Yes.
I'm not going to forgive.
All right. Brother Matt, who's not here?
Well, I'm going to forgive because I think I can speak bluntly here. He sounded a bit thick. And should have seen it coming, shouldn't he? There were so many signs. I saw the signs. You all saw the signs. And so for those reasons, I'm going to...
Okay, make no sense at all, but it doesn't really matter, does it? 0333 2020 402. You can let us know, what do you think? Forgiven or not? 61054. Just before the news, we had a confession from Rob. Which was one of those prank confessions, but basically he hid in the back of Brian's car, except when he did the big reveal, it wasn't Brian, and he scared the living daylights out of the guy. And then he became Terry Thomas for no apparent reason. Anyway, the people's verdict is in. Here we go.
Mixed reaction today. Not forgiven, says Baz. No man should have his fish and chips interrupted.
Yes.
But Tim says definitely forgiven. An honest mistake. These things happen.
They don't, Tim, though, do they?
No,
they don't really.
They do.
No.
Well, Kathy says from Blackpool, my son did that to me. Hid in the back of my car as I set off for work on a night shift. He thought it was hilarious. Tells everyone to this day, 15 years later.
Maybe it's a common prank. Maybe people think it's hilarious. I don't think anyone else does. But anyway, thank you for the verdicts and thank you for the confessions. Please send yours to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Thirsty work, this business. Time that the drinks trolley travelled past. There it is. Very good. Suze, what are you selecting for us today?
Well, I've selected this one specifically for Holly. I thought she liked this one.
Ooh.
This is...
Has it got coconut in it?
It has got coconut in it. It's got Duppy Share rum, pineapple and coconut. It's a pina colada in a can by Moth. 10%. Very delicious and fruity.
Wow, that sounds delicious.
Does that sound like your kind of thing?
That does sound like my
Excellent.
kind of thing.
We'll have a great. Thank you very much indeed. Today's confession comes from Peter. And it's a 12, I suppose, but it just depends on the way you look at the world. Father Simon, Brother Matt, Sister Susie and Sister Holly. This confession dates back to 1991. I was in my early 20s and Alan, my partner in crime, was a few years older. Our friends were Bobby, Mark and Scott, and we were sharing a rented flat on the first floor of the Victorian house, which was directly opposite a pub. Very handy. Their flat was party headquarters, where each weekend our crowd of friends would turn up after the pubs and clubs closed to continue partying until the early hours. I bet your neighbours were delighted. On a Friday night at our local pub, me and Alan came up with a dastardly plan. We thought it would be a great idea to release a giant spider in their flat. And while sinking a few beers, we planned everything out. Choosing the spider was easy. Amongst about a dozen large spiders at the shop was an enormous Costa Rican orange knee tarantula, which was twice the size of the other specimens. If you're arachnophobic, as I mentioned earlier, this is an issue.
Yeah.
Indeed, it was so big the slightly nervous shop assistant couldn't coax it into the box they supplied. At this point, I was hiding behind the fish tanks and was soon joined by the shop assistant. So Alan did the boxing up.
Oh dear.
So having paid 25 quid, a lot of cash in those days, we left with the spider safely in its box. We drove to the flat about midday on the Saturday. We were surprised to find that Bobby was alone. The other two were at work. Well, this is perfect, we thought. We sat in the living room, and as I distracted Bobby by pretending to help him with his crossword, Alan removed the box from inside his jacket and shook it until the spider plopped out onto the carpet. You remember this is the Costa Rican orange knee tarantula. It just stood there, looking menacing. I could see from the corner of my eye Alan was nudging it until it finally scuttled behind the sofa. Bobby didn't see a thing. At this point, we decided to leave and make our way to our local for the usual Saturday booze-up. That day, always drink responsibly. That day, the word quickly spread, and by the evening, just about everyone in the pub knew of our prank, all except the three boys in question who lived in this particular flat. I remember them being a bit surprised when nobody wanted to go to the party flat that night. We all went elsewhere as the three boys went home, and this, we learned, is what happened. Mark had fallen asleep on the sofa on Saturday night and didn't retire to his room until the early hours. He got up for work but couldn't find his keys. Thinking they had slipped down the sofa, he pulled it away from the wall and was startled to see a ginormous spider which reared up at him. Do spiders rear up? He found his keys in the kitchen and left for work, but not before knocking on Bobby's door saying, "There's a tarantula in the living room," which is just not the best way to wake up. Bobby and Scott got up and, assuming Mark was joking, they looked behind the sofa. In absolute terror, they legged it out of the flat and after some deliberation decided to call the police from the public phone box across the street. A policeman soon arrived, a sergeant no less, with a Glaswegian accent. Not here, he hasn't. He assumed that this was a wind-up and warned the boys about wasting police time. He said, "This would be better be a joke, because I have a phobia of spiders." That was my Glaswegian accent. He soon found out it was no joke. He and Bobby went into the flat, up the stairs and entered the living room. The spider had moved and was in the middle of the room on the carpet. Ooh. When they entered, they looked down and, no doubt alerted by the vibration of human footfall, it suddenly spread its legs out, making it look as big as a dinner plate. That's how big this spider is. At this moment, all chaos broke out. Bobby and the sergeant wrestled each other to get out of the room like they're in a cartoon, and they both ran out of the building. This was serious. Was there more? Were there more spiders? Was it an infestation? Would the other tenants have to be evacuated? The sergeant decided they needed to capture it and then contact pest control, who could take on the case, allowing him to get back to normal police work. He was not going back inside, and so Bobby apparently very bravely decided to do it. He found a large ice cream tub and managed to get the spider inside and sealed the lid. Then the sergeant took it to the local pet shop who identified it. Yes, indeed, it was the Costa Rican orange-kneed tarantula, which was sold to 2 young men just the previous day. On the Monday morning, a reporter from the South Wales Echo appeared.
Oh, my word.
Called in fact, he interviewed the boys. The next day, the story ran, accompanied by a picture of the beast. I was a bit put out because I didn't get a mention. Anyway, Peter, Father Simon, I don't ask forgiveness from the boys because they all dined out on this story. I also don't ask forgiveness from the spider, who quite frankly had an adventure for a couple of days out of his glass prison. And I don't ask forgiveness from the shop assistant who ended up making 50 quid for one tarantula because he sold it on again. But I do ask forgiveness for the poor sergeant who was terrified of spiders, having his time wasted. I mean, if you join the police force, I imagine you join for a whole bunch of reasons, but you don't. Nice, Fade.
Nice.
What you don't expect is to be called because there's a tarantula the size of a dinner plate in someone's flat in Cardiff. Anyway, Sister Susie, what do you say to Peter?
Well, Peter, I have to say, first of all, I like that you spent time in the local pub across the road. I approve. Very, very good spending money in the local pub. But I just don't know what to say here. It's that policeman. Why did he even go there? Why didn't he just tell them to phone, I don't know, his pet people look after tarantulas? I don't know. Just surely there's a number for loose spiders. I just find that it's, was it really your fault? You were just trying to be funny. But I don't like spiders, and I can't imagine that policeman had a good time. So for that reason, I'm not going to forgive.
Okay, Sister Holly, what do you say?
Well, I hate pranks. I don't like them. It's just not very nice, really. And I feel, is it strange? I feel a little bit sorry for the tarantula in all this.
I did.
I know.
Yes.
I feel a little bit sorry for him because he was just trying to live his life and thought that he was going to a lovely, warm, welcoming home, and actually he was just causing havoc and everybody was screaming. So that wasn't fantastic, really. And also, you wasted police time. What? I don't even know why the sergeant turned up. That was so strange. And so you wasted not even just his time, frankly, everybody's time. And so that's why I'm not forgiving this. Include also the South Wales Echo. Yeah, why were they reporting on it? Complete waste of time. No forgiveness here.
Okay, Brother Matt, who's not here?
Well, I'm going to forgive because can I be the only one thinking that maybe the system is at fault here? And if it's all set up that way, then that was always what was going to happen, wasn't it? So, yes, definitely forgiven. No case to answer, really.
That made absolutely no sense, but it kind of doesn't matter. So, the people's verdict, please, for Peter, 61054. Just before the news, however, we had a confession from Peter. It involved a flat in Cardiff, the local police, the South West Echo, but more importantly, it featured a Costa Rican orange-kneed tarantula. The people's verdict is in, and Susie has all that.
Yes, not much forgiveness for Peter out there, I'm afraid. Not forgiven. A spider once set off the school alarms at 2 a.m. and the police were called out. But in this case, absolutely not forgiven. That poor spider, Shona in Stirling says. Nope, no way, absolutely not. Mel, the spider hater in Sutton Coldfield says. And Michelle says, not forgiven. Yes, in caps, yes, I'm shouting. As a tarantula owner myself, I feel sorry for the poor little critter.
Yes. Okay, that's very good. That's obviously going in one particular way, and that was entirely expected. Thank you for all the verdicts, and thank you for your confessions. Send us one. If we use it, you get a smart speaker. Work about to come our way because it's talking time, because it's confessions time. Susan's brought something, and she's up from the pub. What do we have today from the trolley?
Well, this is controversial, I think, but it's from Yonder. It's what they call a pastry stout, which is when they use kind of cooking ingredients in beer, and it's a coconut cream cortado. Espresso, coconut. It's kind of like a coffee-y, beery thing. I thought Holly might like it because it's got coconut in it, but it's 6%, so it's quite strong.
No.
What? It's tasty. It's like dessert in a can.
It's a waste of lots of very good ingredients. You want beer, have beer. If you want coffee, have coffee. If you want a pudding, have a pudding.
Fine.
Anyway, no thanks. So we got some food and drink on the way with Nigel anyway in just a moment. So today's confession comes from Rob. Rob, thank you very much indeed. Father Simon and the Holy Collective. I am seeking, obviously you're not going to try any of this at home because you don't have access to the equipment, which Rob did.
Oh dear.
I am seeking forgiveness for a little incident that happened while I was working as an aircraft engineer on a large transport aircraft, the C-130 Hercules, at an RAF station near Lynham in 1979. That'll be RAF Lynham then, I'd imagine.
Probably.
I don't know if you're familiar with the C-130, Father Simon. Well, but it is the prime transport for airdropping troops and equipment into hostile areas, and it can be used as a gunship for airborne assault, search and rescue, scientific research support, weather reconnaissance, aerial refueling, maritime patrolling, and aerial firefighting. Did you know any of this?
No.
It's a beast. Some versions of it are called the Angel of Death. So treat with care.
Right.
Danger, danger. It may be worth bearing in mind that anything that could be sucked into this jet engine, I'll do that again. Anything that could be sucked into this jet's engine was a bad thing on an airfield, known as FOD, Foreign Object Damage. I know you were nervous, but that's what it stands for, Foreign Object Damage. This has been drummed into us during our training. The 130 had 4 Allison T56A7 turboprops, providing 1,200 prop shaft horsepower. Just think, very big, very
big.
powerful engines.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in front of them. You don't want to be behind them. Not
Nowhere
ever.
near.
No way. On this particular day, I was tasked with helping the propulsion sergeant, who knew there was such a thing, known as Lee, for his resemblance to Lee Van Cleef, as safety man while he tested the engines after a major service. For Holly, Lee Van Cleef was an American actor famous for the spaghetti westerns he was in.
Right,
Like The
okay.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah,
and that,
okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, so our Rob, he's the safety man. Rob says, as I stood waiting in front of the aircraft, pondering whether to go straight to the bar as soon as it opened or give it a few minutes so I didn't look too desperate, along the perimeter track behind the aircraft rode an officer, Captain Merriweather Jones, with his cap on and cycling on his trusty Raleigh 3-gear. Well, I thought, he's a very naughty boy, or words to that effect. He shouldn't be wearing that hat. And a thought came to me. At about the same time that Lee Van Cleef was calling over the intercom if he could run the engines up to full power, I quickly said, not yet, not yet, not yet. I waited until the officer was right behind the aircraft. I went, okay.
No.
Well, the scene that unfolded before my eyes was a bit of a worry for a lowly aircraft engineer. The cap left the officer's head and sailed high over the 20-foot-high earth embankment. And then, to my horror, Captain MJ was lifted off his bike and blown halfway up the bank and pinned, spread-eagled there. Lee was asking over my head, saying, is everything okay? As I apparently was staring into the distance. Carry on. I couldn't really tell him that we had someone pinned to the wall behind the aircraft, as I was supposed to be the safety man. Here's the thing. Captain Merriweather Jones was pinned for 10 minutes.
What?
10 minutes?
With the test finish, I peeked around the aircraft to see Captain MJ recovering himself and climbing over the embankment in the hope of retrieving his cap, which was long gone. In my defense, I only meant to blow his blooming cap off. Very good, Rob. I need forgiveness from Captain Merriweather Jones, wherever he is now, who probably had to fork out for a new cap and explain why he wasn't wearing his mandatory headgear around the station, and from Lee, who unknowingly pinned an officer to the wall for 10 minutes, and also to the then Queen for disrespecting her commission, signified by the officer's cap badge. Regards, Rob. I don't think we've had anyone apologising to the Queen before.
No, I don't
the late
think we
Queen.
have.
I don't think so. But anyway, that's what Rob is doing. It does sound incredibly dangerous.
So dangerous.
Using the engines of a C-130 Hercules, known as the Angel of Death, and pinning an officer to an embankment.
Yeah.
Sister Susie.
Well, yeah, even if you just wanted to have a little bit of a prank and blow his hat off, I still think it's too dangerous. Those engines are huge and not to be played with. Danger, shouldn't have done it. Worse things could have happened.
1,200 prop shaft of horsepower, Sister Holly.
Terrible.
What do you say?
He knew that these were really powerful engines. How could he then at the end say, oh, I didn't know it was going to happen? He knew that was going to happen.
Yes,
Surely
I think he probably
his
did.
friend would be pinned to the embankment for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is a very, very long time. That
Yeah.
would feel like, I don't know, an hour if you actually were Captain Merriweather yourself. And he lost his perfectly nice cap. So all in all, not forgiving this at all.
All right. Brother Matt, who's not here?
Well, I think that was the pick of this week's Confessions. I loved it. What a twist at the end. No one saw that coming.
I think we all did.
Least of all me. And I'm going to forgive because, it was the best one. It was the pick of the bunch, wasn't it? So, yes, for all those reasons, I'm going to forgive.
Well, thank you, Matt. Incisive as ever. People's verdict, please, for Rob with his RAF activities with the C-130 Hercules. Forgiven or not? 61054 on the... So just before the news, we had a confession which involved a C-130 Hercules at RAF Lynham with 4 Allison T56 A7 turbo props providing 1,200 prop shaft horsepower and Captain Meriwether Jones with his cap on at the back. The verdict's in. Here we go.
Well, mixed reaction today, surprisingly. So forgiven. My son was blown off his feet at an air show 45 years ago by a World War II twin-engine bomber at Biggin Hill Air Show. That's
Wow.
Mick. Not forgiven, says Brandon. You were the safety man, Rob. Letting Lee unknowingly execute a tactical strike on a superior officer is not okay. But John says forgiven. Anyone who rides a bicycle behind a C-130 with engines running, even at idle, is an idiot.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Poor old Captain Meriwether Jones. If you have a confession, please send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk.